Hi, Gene here. Before we jump into today's show, just a reminder that we are still running a drawing where I am giving away some free one-on-one sessions with me as part of the celebration of the 9-year anniversary of the Tapping Q&A podcast. To enter into the drawing, which is absolutely free, it'll take you less than 30 seconds. All you need to do is go to tappingqa.com/9years, and that's the number 9 with years spelled out, tappingqa.com/9years. I will also include a link in the show notes. This is Gene Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 309, originally aired March 14th, 2018. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Today, we're going to be tapping around this idea of the resistance that is created because of the expectations other people have for us inside of our lives. And this topic came about because of a conversation I had Friday night. I had drinks Friday night with someone we will call Mary. And Mary was in town because she was in the third rounds of interviews for a really prestigious job here in the city. And she was really torn because on one level, the job that she was applying for is the absolute perfect job. It is her dream job, all the way down to her core. She knows she should be doing it. It will make a huge difference. And the place that she was applying is the absolute best place in the United States to be doing that specific job. But at the exact same time, she was really scared and she was really intimidated because New York is a scary, intimidating place, particularly in the professional world where people have a tendency to lead with their credentials. And in this particular situation, she would be one of the few people in the office who hadn't gotten a postgraduate degree from an Ivy League school. And so immediately she was describing how she felt out of her depth. And where she currently is, she's in a situation where she's really, really successful. It's not necessarily the work that she loves, but she's doing a really good job and she's making a great living at it. And what was complicating this even more was not just the fact that she might come to New York and fail, but if she came to New York and failed, she would be letting everybody down. Like me, she comes from a small western town, and actually it's a town that's way smaller than the one that I came from. So there's not a lot of people that get away. She articulated in real detail all of the sacrifices that her family and specifically her parents had made to give her the opportunity to be out in the world doing what she was doing. And if she stayed where she was, she would be successful and everybody would be happy because she was successful. But if she came to New York and she takes the job and it doesn't work out, it's not that she's failing, but she's letting down everyone around her. And these expectations, you could just, as she was talking about them, you could just see them physically weighing on her, trying to describe what it was like carrying what these people thought about her and thought about the work that she was doing and how much it meant to her to live up to that. And even as she talked about the amount of sacrifice they had made to help pay for her college tuition and things like that, there was this sense that there was no amount of money that she could ever make that was going to pay that back. Not because of their demand, but because that's the debt that she felt to them. So based off that, I thought it would be really useful for us to spend a little time today tapping on this idea of battling the expectations that others have for us, or even the perceived expectations that we think others have for us, and how that can sabotage us and prevent us from taking action. Because when we're caught in that middle place between doing what we love and doing what other people want, if we really are engaged with that resistance, If we take action, it's going to be in a half-hearted way and we're not going to have success, or we're simply going to choose to stay stuck. And if we do that, we're going to end up resenting where we are and possibly even resenting the people who have these expectations for us. So as we tap today, we're going to approach this tapping in 4 different ways, and we're just going to roll through all 4 of them because I think all 4 will be helpful for you. And as always, as we do this sort of tapping, keep a pen and paper nearby, because as we do this, we might bump into a limiting belief, a memory, or something that is familiar that we tap on. And if that's the case, just pause the audio and write that down so that you can loop back to it. But by going through all 4 of these, what we're doing is we're getting the opportunity to kind of poke at all of the different possible aspects that will help you to unpack this and release the resistance that is coming because of these unrealistic expectations. So we're going to tap for this in 4 different ways. The first way is sometimes we are in a situation where people have expectations for us because they want what's best for us, but they want what's best for us on their terms, not on what's best for us on our terms. And it's not malicious, they just don't understand where we're coming from. So they want things for us that isn't actually going to serve us. The second is sometimes we are in a situation where people don't actually have these expectations for us, but we have created in our own mind these expectations they must have for us. The third thing that we're going to tap for is sometimes we are in a situation where we could follow their direction for every choice we make 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they're not going to be satisfied. And since they're never going to be satisfied, we might as well choose what works for best for us and let them be dissatisfied with that versus us trying to live up to their expectation and them being still dissatisfied. And then the fourth thing we're going to tap for is just being in this position of recognizing the fact that it is our life and it is our responsibility. And regardless what other people's expectations are, at the end of the day, we have to be crafting a life that makes sense for us. So we're going to roll through all 4 of those. Again, as things come up that make sense, just hit pause, make a note, so you can come back and tap to those later as well. So tap on the side of the hand, take a nice big deep breath. Take another nice big deep breath. Move from tapping point to tapping point, repeating after me. I recognize that the people in my life want what's best for me. They want me to be successful, happy, and healthy. And based on their own experience, they have a clear definition of what that is. And since it is their definition of happiness, it must be everyone's definition of happiness. Therefore, their expectation is for me to live into that definition. I want to be happy too. But I recognize my definition of happiness and their definition of happiness are not the same. I can appreciate that they want what's best for me. I can embrace their desire for me to be happy and do this in such a way where I don't have to pick up their definition of happiness. I do not have to pick up their expectations. I don't have to pick up their specific desires for my life. I can accept that they want what's best for me without having to accept their definition of what is best for me. I also recognize that there are times in which I assume other people have expectations of me. I assume there is a specific definition they have for my life. And these expectations impact me. But just because I believe expectations are there, doesn't always mean there are actually expectations there. There are going to be times in which I fabricate those expectations inside of my own head. I give myself permission to let go of perceived expectations. Knowing it is possible for me to live the life that I want without those expectations. Other times, there are really clear expectations others have for me. These expectations are stated in obvious and subtle ways. And when there are expectations that are so obvious, oftentimes there is nothing I could do to ever live up to them. Even if I lived up to those expectations every moment of the day, the people who have those expectations are never going to be satisfied. And since they're never going to be satisfied, I might as well live the life that I want to live. It does me no good to be dissatisfied with my life and to have them dissatisfied with my choices. If they are going to be unhappy with unfulfilled expectations, I should live the life that I want. Because my choices are not going to impact their happiness. So I need to make the choices that are best for me. I give myself permission to know, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is how I perceive my life, is how my choices resonate with me. About who I am creating myself to be, and whether or not I am satisfied with that. I know my choices impact others. I know there are people who have strong beliefs about how I should live. I know others have invested in me to help me create the life that I have. But it is still my life. I have to take responsibility for that life. I have to take responsibility for myself. I give myself permission to know I'm allowed to live up to my expectations and not anyone else's. That will serve me in the short term, and that will serve me in the long term. Nice deep breath. Now, I know that there is a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. And again, that's the reason why I encourage you to grab a pen and paper when we started. If you didn't do that and some ideas have popped into your head, write them down. This is one of those things that you really want to go after, because if you are feeling hesitant because of the expectations of others, it's going to be really hard for you to move forward, because you don't want to do something that is going to hurt them or isolate you from them. And so when you get emotionally clear, you're going to see what you can do and still be connected to those around you, and how you can be your authentic self and still be connected to those around you. Because at the end of the day, again, we just tapped on it. The only thing that matters is you and your life and how you are living for you. And that's not a selfish thing. That is being a truly authentic human being. Because if you are not being your true authentic self, you are robbing the rest of us of who you can be and how you can transform the world. And so it's not this inward-looking thing. It's a authentic grounding thing that makes a difference for all of us. Go back, retap on this, listen to it again. I've typed out the tapping script, so if you go to the website, tappingqandapodcast.com, and click on the link for episode 309, you can actually see the script down below. If you've downloaded the Tapping Q&A app, which is available both for Android and iOS devices, I've actually created a separate post, one that has this audio and one that just has the text for this tapping script. So you can go back and you can tap on it again and again and again. So you can get clear, so you're not stuck in a place where you're caught between two worlds and you don't know what to do. Because when you're caught between two worlds, you don't take action. And not taking action is making a choice. It's choosing to stay stuck. It's choosing not to become who and what you want to be. If you found this helpful, please pass it on to a friend. Don't spam your inbox, but you might know someone who could really use this. Let me know other issues that you'd like us to tap for in these podcasts. If you have someone we should interview, if there's a topic to cover, you can always reach out, Gene, Gene, at tappingqna.com, or just click on the contact link on the website, click on the contact link inside of the app. You can leave me a voice message or an email message from both of those places. I love, love, love hearing from people just like you. Some of the best stuff have come out of that. I have a couple of interviews that I've lined up that I'm doing in the next couple of weeks that I'll be sharing with you in the next couple of months, of people I did not know, that listeners just like you brought their attention to mine, and I am so thrilled about it, and I can't wait to share them with you. As always, you can find the podcast in Apple Podcast app, in the Google Music Play Store, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify. And like I said last week, we got something special coming where it's less than 50 podcasts in the world. You're going to have access to this particular show in a really fun way. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Monterastelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Monterastelli, Tapping Q&A 2016. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Monterastelli or Tapping Q&A.